Shout out to TZ Von Savage and Jay Lava. I missed you guys the other day because I was real busy with my film release. The new Bug Breaking movie is out, but shout out to you
Get
brothers,
on
man.
up in here because it's going down.
Savage and Jay Lava for their
Get on up in here
of Keep It P podcast. B1
Derek Chauvin sentencing party. It's a sentencing party. We finna watch a party, a sentencing party. Do you wanna get sentenced with me today? Do you wanna get sentenced with me today? Cause it's the Derek Chauvin sentencing. The Derek Chauvin sentencing. Do you wanna get sentenced today? Do you wanna get sentenced with me? Come on, get it, get started. It is the sentencing party. Oh yeah, come on, let's get sentenced. Aha, whoa, big bad white supremacy is getting sentenced today.
Right.
It's time for a sentencing party. Let's get the sentencing party going. Let's get the sentencing party. Let's get the sentencing party. The party. Do you know about the
you're
sentence?
really doing that. You're tripping.
What? I really did put sentencing party. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about your singing.
Oh. Do I sound happy? Let's get the sentencing.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, y'all, man.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for the verdict to come in like everybody else.
We finna put it up on the screen for ya.
So it's about to be live here. Nobody else has got it either, so it hasn't come in yet.
We finna put the sentence on the screen. The sentence is going on the screen for you. Is you ready? Live, 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 live. Is the stream on this channel right here, or we gotta go somewhere else? It's supposed to be coming live. When is it coming? I'm waiting for the live.
Well, the court's just ready to get convened at 1:30, so they're not even officially back in yet.
Oh, let me see live stream. Derek. Live stream of Derek. Let me get that Derek live stream, brother. Uh-oh. Should we go hometown? Do they got Fox 9? Let's go Fox 9. Let's go hometown. Let's go Fox 9 stream on the live stream. Here we go. It's about that time, y'all. On the live stream side of the game.
Convictions on all three charges. My co-anchors Amy and Kelsey have been standing by watching all of this. There were 14 days of deliberations
but as long as folks are still
court hearings and testimony during the last 3 weeks in total with jury selection.
You know they're coming.
So there's a lot that happened in the last 3 weeks in the course of this. The prosecution stuck with a very clear theme, and that was that Derek Chauvin actually caused the death of
a day.
All right, come on, give me what you got for a poach out here. Let me bring the everything down. I don't want
George Floyd with his knee on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. The defense.
I'm gonna bring the quality down just a little bit, just so we ain't got no problems while we're streaming. Don't want no problems while I'm streaming. All I want is the stream now. We gonna bring.
I mean, please, you can take me off.
No.
Defense, on the other hand, said that George Floyd's health was in such a compromised state during this whole time from arrest to his death that part of George Floyd's demise was his health.
Here they come.
He had a bad heart. He had drugs in his system at the time. There was even talk that he may have been succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning from being beneath the vehicle, and all those came into play during this as well.
Can you say
Amy, you've been watching this from the standpoint of the deliberations during the day, the testimony during the day, and some of the perspective from our legal analysts. They said that this was a fairly clean-cut case between the defense and the prosecution.
Trying to get him 30 years plus.
Are working to get Lee Hutton, one of our legal analysts, on with us here. He'll be on in about 15 minutes. I actually just got off the phone with him, and he was in the car driving, Randy. So he'll be with us shortly to give us a lot more insight on this. But yeah, one of the things that Lee talked about yesterday was the fact that the prosecution clearly had more witnesses, and they had this momentum going into this trial and then throughout the trial. And then, in his opinion, also the defense wasn't able to bring the witnesses that were as strong as they needed to be, in his opinion. And so when we got to the closing arguments yesterday, Lee really did say that the defense attorney, Eric Nelson, was able to pick up some of that slack. And there were some moments where he, for the first time, according to Lee Hutton, was really trying this case in front of these jurors. So we want to check in now with our Paul Bloom, who has also been following this trial since day one. Paul, first I want to ask you, we all sort of heard the news scrambled in here breathlessly. What's your reaction to such a quick turnaround?
Yeah, it was fast. My just gut feeling is a verdict that comes back that quickly on such an intense case with the amount of evidence, the amount of witnesses. Clearly, this jury knows the world is watching. I think it is a good omen for the state, if you will. It's just my gut instinct on the amount of hours this jury put in. I mean, clearly, they got this case at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They wanted to deliberate a little later than I think we expected, into the 8 o'clock hours. They spent 4 hours on it yesterday, and then turned around 12 hours later, right back at it at 8 a.m. And then this jury, this verdict announced about 10 minutes ago now. We got some early indication from our sourcing that they had started evacuating and closing down government buildings around Minneapolis, downtown, evacuating workers that had been working inside. We had understood that was going to be a precursor to a verdict announcement for safety reasons. So we got word of that, and then sources confirming, then clearly now the court is on record. Verdict has been reached. It is expected to be read in court within the hour, possibly by 3:30, 4 o'clock. That will obviously be on our live stream. We will have cameras inside for that verdict. Now, we will not see the jury itself, but the jury foreperson either will read the verdict or hand the forms to Judge Cahill, who will read the verdict, and Derek Chauvin's fate will be known at that point. Of course, the global world, entire world watching now. I'm trying to do the quick math in my head. 4 hours yesterday, 6 hours today. So we're in that 10-hour, right, 10 to 11-hour range, which, if you remember, Muhammad Noor, different case, not obviously nearly as much video evidence. I mean, there was no evidence video-wise of the actual shooting, but several years ago, the deadly police shooting, July 2017, with Justine Ruzcek-Damon, Muhammad Noor, that jury deliberated right in that 10 to 11-hour range. So just something to take note of. Certainly very different cases, very different stakes, but just something I was noting around this time frame. Yanez, the Geronimo Yanez, Philando Castile deadly police shooting
they gotta bring them
years
all up,
earlier.
don't they?
That jury, you may remember, had one deadlocked juror that couldn't be convinced to go with the jury. They stretched out deliberations for 27 hours, so they really needed some time to come back with an acquittal in that
shit
case.
here, because it's not
so
going to
again,
work
as you
out
try to
good
read
for
the
you.
tea leaves in terms of how long a jury spends deliberating, I would just put that on record, between 10 plus hours from this jury, obviously committed to getting the job done quickly. During COVID, of course, sequestration, they spent last night in a hotel. My thought had been whatever decision might come today, they may take an extra night just to sleep on and might not get a verdict read until tomorrow. But clearly they're moving ahead. The court was concerned about a late day verdict. If a verdict came in, in the early evening, nighttime hours, they were going to wait for that reading for the following day. Because of fear of civil unrest developing overnight in the darkness. They wanted to give security troops and law enforcement and military the best opportunity to be in position to handle any fallout from the verdict. But clearly here they feel comfortable. Middle of the afternoon, they will read this verdict, guys, in literally 60 minutes to the next 90 minutes. And we'll, of course, be here throughout.
Wow.
Yeah, being on a jury call, this is Kelsey,
So
is
the
a big
next
job
60 to
in
the
any
90
case,
pump
but
faking.
in this case in particular, and
They
I think
trying to-
10
they
hours
trying
of
to get the
deliberation,
troops in place.
catching some people a little bit by surprise. We're going to come back to you in just a little bit. Thank you
They
so
trying
much
to
for
get the
everything that
troops in
you have done
place.
down there. You've covered every second of this trial. We want to go to one of our legal analysts, Mike Bryant. 45 witnesses and so much video in this case, almost unprecedented, the amount of video you have. There's Mike right there. You have the surveillance cameras on the street. You have the body cameras on the officers.
That's right. So
and
ain't
then
no
you have
getting
the
away
cell
with
phone.
it.
Oh, okay. We don't have Mike just yet. We're trying to establish some connection there. We'll get to him in just a minute. Maybe we can bring Paul back into the fold. But Amy, the amount of videotape, unprecedented in a case like this, because you can see this from every single angle that day. You can see inside Cup Foods. You can see George Floyd shopping, and then every interaction on the street, right up to the park police officer who was across the street, and having that angle as well. So much so that when the state brought in their medical experts, they looked at the video frame by frame and determined a time of death based on their knowledge.
All right, let's jump in here. Hannah Flood is ready for us. Hannah, as with Paul, has been covering this thing nonstop from the go as well.
Hey, look,
Hannah, you watch that thing minute by minute. You bring us updates throughout the day.
When she started to
as
talk
Paul
about, hold
pointed
on,
out,
wait
this
a
jury
minute, we
coming
got
in after
Hannah here.
approximately 10 hours
You
of
hear that?
deliberation. Your
It's like,
take
wait
in
a minute,
terms of
hold on.
what you're seeing
Stop with the
there,
bullshit here.
and you
We
have
got
a
Hannah.
sense for these
Hannah's here.
charges, the second degree, the third degree, and of course the second degree manslaughter, and what the jury had to consider within each charge.
Yeah, these aren't so straightforward, guilty or not guilty. Each of these charges has multiple elements that the jurors need to consider. And within those elements are sometimes these really specific definitions of things. So let's first talk about this second degree murder charge. The state needs to prove that Chauvin caused George Floyd's death while committing a third degree assault. So the state does not have to prove that Chauvin meant to kill George Floyd or even meant to seriously hurt him. Just that his actions were intentional, and then those actions resulted in George Floyd's death. So that's that second degree murder charge. Now, on that third degree murder charge, you'll remember that's the charge that the state Court of Appeals took a look at. That's the charge that Judge Cahill actually dropped from this case months ago. The definition of that charge is that the state needs to prove Chauvin caused George Floyd's death by committing an act dangerous to others. And actually today I did an interview with former Minnesota Supreme Court Justice Paul Anderson, who talked about that word others. That doesn't mean multiple people, just one person. But then there's this other part of this charge in this definition. The state has to prove that he was acting with a, quote, conscious indifference to the loss of life and was acting with a, quote, depraved mind. That depraved mind part of this charge is something that sometimes slips juries up because it doesn't really have a clear definition. Justice Anderson told me decades on the state Supreme Court, he even struggled with that definition. And what he ended up telling me today, what he defined it as, is it's something that is so reckless and careless that the perpetrator shows a complete lack of regard for human life. So that's what that depraved mind definition of that second degree murder charge is. And then you have the manslaughter charge that is considered less than murder, but that someone's actions were intentional and those actions led to harm. So, Randy, that just kind of gives you an idea of what these jurors have been deliberating for hours now, really getting into these details of these charges. And of course, we're waiting to hear what their verdict is on each of these charges.
And you have to assume that maybe in their 4 hours of deliberation last night, they eliminated some or a couple or all of those charges in some way or another. Thank you, Hannah.
Of course they're not.
All right. And thank you, Hannah, too, as well. We have Paul Bloom that want to go back out to. Talking about how complicated it is.
That's black
any jury in any case to go through those instructions. That can really trip a group up, and to get 12 people to agree, it's complicated and it often takes quite some time. So it is remarkable that this has been reached in about 10 hours.
It really is. And Paul has with him legal analyst Ryan Pasiga, who's helped us out here during the trial, to have some of these questions answered. So, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting, Amy and Kelsey. I had called on Ryan to come on over to our perch here outside the government center to get some feedback on just how long the jury was taking. And all of a sudden, Ryan arrives and the verdict comes in. So so glad to have you join us live right away. I know you're processing this right in the moment, but 10 hours of jury deliberations on this complicated a case. What's your gut?
It's pretty quick. I think they've got to have a guilty verdict here on, I don't know about the top count, second-degree murder, but maybe the third degree and the manslaughter. The second degree is going to be the question. I think they've got it on the third degree manslaughter because this was so quick. There was so much to go through.
If y'all get that man,
and when juries do this, the first thing they do is they select a fourth person. And that takes a little while. And after that, usually they'll do an informal poll. They don't have to, but the fourth person might say,
I don't even know, man. A lot of Tucker Tuesday.
Who's for guilty on second-degree murder, who's not, and they'll get their counts, right? And then after that, so if they've got a unanimous on something, they can move on, but usually they don't right away. And then they'll start
going through
that evidence, and I would expect that the most time taken in this particular case was either on, was this his training? And mostly, I think, the difference in the medical opinions. And was it asphyxiation? Was it a asphyxiation?
It's all that.
What does that
Y'all
mean?
know what it is.
What does this
So if he gets found guilty, are all you killer cops going to stop killing black people?
And then, given how serious they knew this verdict would be one way or another, and how many lives this would change, and what the community is going to do about this, they probably said, let's rest our minds, and let's just take an hour, let's take two, whatever, and really examine ourselves and make sure that this is final, because what we do is solemn here, and it is final, and let's make sure, let's not rush into this.
And you said you had some concerns about getting to second degree in terms of a conviction. That obviously, the underlying premise there would be that he was assaulting George Floyd, a third degree assault. We heard testimony about the shimmying, the knee on the neck, the pain compliance technique while handcuffed, bending George Floyd, the pressure against the street. Did you not see an assault in that, or just it's more complicated than that?
I think it's more complicated in that. Law enforcement does get to use some restraint and some other techniques to gain compliance initially, right? And again, it probably went beyond that. That's probably where this verdict is going to go. But I'm not sure that they're going to see his initial cuffing, the compliance with the fingers as enough of an assault to get you to where any sort of assault is going to get you to the murder. It had to be that substantial bodily harm. And so I don't know if they got there with that or not. But the other stuff, the third degree murder, the depraved mind, the indifference to human life sort of thing, probably got there when they're talking about kneeling on him and then he doesn't have a pulse and he's motionless anymore and continuing to stay on him. I think that was probably a talking point for the jury. And then with regard to the manslaughter, just the flat out negligence, if you will, of knowing that this can be a high-risk maneuver.
I'm going to put the shit back up on the screen.
Roll him onto his side and continuing on with that conduct.
And Steve Schlischer, in his closing remarks yesterday for the state, told the jury to believe their eyes. Look at the video, kind of that gut instinct we all had after 3-4 minutes, just that instinctual gut, like, get off him. He's no longer moving. Is that so critical? These are average 12 jurors, not experts in the court like yourself. Is that what this case boils down to in the end in a 10-hour jury deliberation?
Look how you're trying to blame it on the jury.
Just look at that video.
I think he hit it right on the head. I mean, I said that before the trial started, right? That's Exhibit A. We know that. That tells us a lot. Sometimes our eyes can deceive us, to be fair. But in this particular case, that video is compelling evidence. You've got a situation where you can see when he's squirming, you can see when he's letting up, you can see what he's asking for, you can see how the officers are responding, and you can see when he's not moving anymore. And juries love videos. I can't think of a single trial I've ever had that had video evidence in it where the jury didn't ask, once they were deliberating, to come back and see the video, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Juries love videos, and that's powerful evidence.
And let's be frank here. The medical evidence, the cause of death, was murky at best. But in the end, they just had to prove, the state did, that it was a substantial cause of death, the knee, the neck, the police restraint.
Quit it.
But in 10 hours, what do you think the jury did with that? Did they just accept that at face value, that the subdual restraint and the knee to the neck and back probably is all they needed to do rather than trying to parse asphyxia, heart condition, drugs, the carbon monoxide that came in the end? What's your gut on the cause of death and how this jury would process that in just, a day and a half of deliberating?
Well, my bet is that some jurors right away said, oh, come on, this is enough. He's on his neck, he's on his back, the guy's saying I can't breathe, and that's enough for us, along with the prosecution's testimony. We've heard enough, we're convinced. I bet there were other jurors, though, that said, hold on a minute. One, we've got to presume Chauvin innocent. We got to start with that. Second, we got to have it proven to us beyond a reasonable doubt. And third, there were medical experts.
Nah, man, they done came back
together with respect to everything. And so you're going to have that battle in the camps, and then the pressure comes, and then hopefully some healthy debate where they're going to say, all right, well, let's test it against this theory. Let's relook at the defense's expert testimony. Let's compare that to this doctor's testimony. And they'll continue to have that dialogue. And finally, obviously, they could reach at a unanimous decision because they'd be telling the judge they're deadlocked on at least one count if they weren't. So we know it's 12-0 on all 3 counts. What we don't know is what the score on those counts is yet.
Well, Ryan Pasiga, thank you for joining us on this breaking news, guys. I'll send it back to the studio. I know you guys have a lot to talk about. But again, this verdict reached 10 hours of jury deliberations, expected to be read in court at 3:30, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. We'll be here all afternoon to follow along with you.
All right, we know you will, Paul. Thank you. Much concern over the last several months about what might happen during the court proceedings, after the verdict came in, and of course the time frame after the verdict was read. In fact, the state put in a Operation Safety Net to ensure that the public's safety and the businesses' safety would be ensured during that time. Karen Scullin is live outside the courthouse tonight. Karen, obviously, as we wait for this verdict, the concern among many is what does it mean for the general public? What does it mean for those businesses down there, and how will the public react?
Well, right, Randy, absolutely. We're on the south side of the Convention Center. Obviously, a lot of people around here waiting.
I don't know what they doing. They in there.
Definitely out. Mostly on this side, it's media gathering. There are a few members of the community gathering as well. But I can tell you, all around the courthouse, there are people gathering. Residents, media, really anyone kind of moving towards this direction. On my way over here, I saw some sheriff's deputies kind of locking up the gates around the government center. So, of course, while the community braces and the media braces for this verdict, so is law enforcement. And I've been
fam, go to the one I sent you.
The last few days about preparations.
They in there?
They are very
he ain't. They just talking. They in there.
Have been waiting for
this moment,
waiting for this verdict to come
in. Yeah, that's why you know how Fox do. They don't want you to hear none of that. That's inside.
So the mood down here, intense. I would say it's intense.
Okay.
And
let's go here, y'all.
Of 2020. Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
Oh my
Negro trauma porn.
I believe I witnessed
hold
murder.
on, let me see.
And so you felt the need to call the police?
Yeah, I felt the need to call the police on the police.
Now, there were police there, right?
There were police there.
Okay, why didn't you just talk to them about it?
I believe that they didn't, we just didn't have no connection.
Yes. I have to ask you if your drug use was a part of that relationship.
Yes.
And what kind of drug use was a part of that relationship?
See?
Floyd and I both suffered with an opioid addiction.
See?
But once there was no longer any resistance, and clearly when Mr. Floyd was no longer responsive and even motionless, to continue to apply that level of force.
No, that's not it, fam.
Person.
That's the last.
Oh yeah, there it go.
Prone down.
No, that's it.
Handcuffed behind their back.
It's the right one, but no, they're doing some. He's talking about the sentencing, fam.
There's another video in here.
That is by policy.
Would you please tell the jury what that opinion or opinions are?
Yes, Mr. Floyd died from a low level of oxygen.
What is it on NBC or something?
No, right on there it says watch the what. They got that video right there.
I was just watching that.
No, you was not, sir. You press the yellow. Don't press that yellow. Skip past the yellow and scroll down.
So don't press the yellow thing up there?
No, don't press that.
And press the red.
Don't press nothing. Scroll down, sir. It should say watch live.
Live, independent. George Floyd murder trial.
Their faces should be up there. As lawyers talking right now. It says live broadcast.
All right, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Come on, why is it taking so long to come up?
It should have just been right on the screen. It's like literally just right on the screen.
It ain't even coming up. Okay.
All right, you just press that link, fam. That's the same link. As soon as the page comes up, it's right there, fam. You just gotta scroll down.
I don't fuck that up. Trial. Okay. Scrolling down, bro.
Boom. And then that screen pops up. It says watch live. There's a play button.
Nah,
watch live.
It don't have a play button, but I think I'll see what you said.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It says former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Watch live. Derek Chauvin sentence in here.
No. No, it probably look different on your phone.
Fam, it's different from the phone than the link I just sent you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be, because I don't see that video popping up that you said.
Okay. Here, let me do this then. What about this? Do it. What about that? What about that link right there?
Okay, let's see.
Did that link work?
Let's check it out. Let's move that one over there. So we'll do this one.
Nobody is better suited to decide whether this is the typical case represented by that guidelines presumptive sentence, or if there are reasons why this is worse than that. And the guideline still gives this court discretion when there are aggravating factors to give a more serious sentence than what the guidelines presumption calls for. And as you know, we are asking you to do that today. As this court found, there are 4 aggravating factors that we have identified.
B1, Donnie Brown.
They go beyond a list of just what those factors are. We have not just done our homework and found a list. The court made good findings, detailed findings about those factors, and we think they justify a greatly increased sentence. This is not the typical second-degree unintentional murder. Supreme Court in our state has said that, and very recently, even one aggravating factor is sufficient to go twice the top of the range. Here we have 4.
Right.
The first one that the court found is an abusive position of trust and authority. And the court specifically found that when Mr. Chauvin was acting as a police officer, he had a position of trust and authority. That is certainly true. We trust police officers. We trust them when we need help. We call them for help. We trust that they're going to take care of the problems that they are assigned to deal with, right? We trust them. We also give them great authority. We give them great power. We give them power to use force that individuals would be prosecuted for using. right? We give them authority to arrest, to detain. And with great power, of course, comes great responsibility. So they're not sent out there by themselves to do this. They're given substantial training. This court saw all of that through the trial in general and in specific to Mr. Chauvin and the other 3 officers. They're given training on the use of force, the proportional use of force. The force used has to be warranted by the threat. They're given training on de-escalation because we recognize that police officers are called in when people are not having their best day, when people might be affected by mental illness, drug abuse, any number of issues. They're just having a bad day, and they're trained for that, and should be. And they're taught how to use that to de-escalate and control a situation.
That's right.
They're taught medical intervention. They're taught to provide medical attention to people who need it. Being a police officer is a difficult job. We ask a lot of them. It's a profession, there's no doubt about it.
That's right.
But we give them a substantial amount of training, and most officers do it right. This case wasn't about police officers, all police officers. It wasn't about policing. This case was about Derek Chauvin disregarding all that training he received and assaulting Mr. Floyd until he suffocated to death. One of the things that you heard, Your Honor, and the jurors heard that can really encapsulate, I think, a very important issue here. 7 words. In your custody is in your care.
Yep.
And it's a real simple mantra. It's a real easy thing to remember. You're going to take custody of somebody, you have to provide care. You have to do it in a caring way. You can't simply disregard their care. Mr. Chauvin abused his position of trust and authority as a police officer by doing just that, just disregarding all his training. It was an abuse of that because what did he decide to do? We often are forced in this, criminal justice system to infer people's state of mind by their conduct and their statements. What was Derek Chauvin's endgame here? What was the plan? It seems apparent the plan was hold him down until we can dump him in an ambulance and no longer have him be our problem. You recall he said to Charles McMillan, "It's a big guy, might be on something." That's it. He held Mr. Floyd down as Mr. Floyd begged for his life. He had the other officers help in that regard. And rather than doing the simple expedient of putting him on his side, he said, yeah, He was dismissive to that duty of care. We trust that arrestees will be treated with respect, reasonable force, and that their medical needs will be addressed. I'm paraphrasing from the court's findings. That trust was violated. We trust that they will use their authority reasonably, and this was a particularly egregious abuse of that force. Again, paraphrasing the court's findings. The typical second-degree murder does not involve that extent of abuse of a dearly held position of abuse, a position of authority and trust by the community, by individuals of the community. Your Honor found that Mr. Floyd was treated by Mr. Chauvin with particular cruelty. I think tortured is the right word. We know that, we've all seen it. Mr. Floyd did not want to be in the back seat. That's it. That's the rub. It was the need to get him in that back seat no matter what. And we all saw that once he was pulled out of that back seat, he calmed right down, even willingly went down to the ground. I'm going down, he said. And he went down to the ground, not fighting, not punching, and he was placed initially on his side. He's already handcuffed. He's placed on his side in the recovery position, like he should be, because he's trying to breathe, and then quickly placed prone on the ground, face down. Mr. Chauvin put his left knee on George Floyd's neck, his right knee on George Floyd's back, face down on the pavement. Had Officer King sit on Mr. Floyd's waist area, and had Officer Lane hold his feet down. You can even see Mr. Floyd trying to pull his feet up. We all are going to fight to breathe. Everybody knows that fear when you all of a sudden realize you're having trouble breathing. It's just innate, right? We want to survive. We know we have to breathe. And there's an automatic reaction when you begin to feel like that is threatened. And you can see Mr. Floyd going through that. He tries to pull his feet up. But he's held down by these three officers while Officer Tao is looking on. Later, of course, goes to keep the people who want to help away. He's placed face down on this pavement so harshly that it rubs the skin off his face. He has injuries to his face from being face down on that pavement. He has injuries to his knuckles from just trying to lift himself up. And he's telling Officer Chauvin, can't breathe, I'm dying. And Mr. Chauvin's response was, And all this time, I mean, imagine what Mr. Floyd is going through. If we're going to talk about particular cruelty and torture, really try to appreciate what he's going through. He knows he's suffocating. We all know that feeling of not being able to breathe enough. And he's begging, he's pleading, and he's being ignored. His concerns are being dismissed by somebody who has taken custody, but not care. He was kept in that prone position for 9.5 minutes and was suffocated. There's no other way to say it. That's particularly cruel. That is more cruel than the typical second-degree unintentional murder. Significantly more. This is not a momentary gunshot, punch to the face. This is 9.5 minutes of cruelty to a man who was helpless and just begging for his life. This court found that there were children present, standing only a few feet from these officers. These children, who were ages 17 and one child age 9. Why is that an aggravating factor? Well, I think everybody can figure that out. Right? It's particularly bad to commit a crime in front of children. We've heard a lot of academia about the development of the young brain and how long it can take. And here you got a couple of teenage girls, a 9-year-old girl. How are they going to process this? Standing feet from a man being suffocated by police officers. Such a stark sight that one of the children even says, we got to call the police on the police. How do you process that as a 9-year-old? The children were not only present watching a man die. We've all seen, if you haven't, you really need to look at George Floyd's face as he's dying, he's suffering. The children have to watch this. But not only that, police officers, and there are people around them wanting to help. And at one point, and sure, they got upset. At one point, Mr. Chauvin points his mace, grabs his mace to keep him back. How does a child look at that? There's another officer screaming at them to get back. The typical second-degree unintentional murder doesn't involve children standing feet away watching a 9.5 minute suffocation of a man begging for his life. This court also made a finding that the defendant committed the offense with the involvement of 3 or more other persons. Lane and King were involved directly in the restraint, and that Tao kept the bystanders at bay. I've already talked a little bit about Lane and King's role in holding Mr. Floyd down. They recognized that he was pulseless, that Mr. Floyd was pulseless at one point, and yet really made no effort to take care of the person in their custody. Officer Tao watched most of the suffocation and then only went over to keep people from giving help. One person who is identified as a medical trained firefighter for the city of Minneapolis, and that was dismissed. Like, are we going to believe her? So they kept trained medical people from providing help. These were all uniformed peace officers, adding to that abuse of trust and authority. You know, I know the defense has asked the court for probation. I'm not going to spend a lot of time arguing that. It's so outside of the realm of, I think, real possibility. This is a murder. I understand some of the arguments made on behalf of Mr. Chauvin. I understand, well, no, I can't understand what his family members and friends are going through. I can't. But it's certainly not enough for a departure to probation for a second-degree murder. We believe, Your Honor, that these 4 aggravating factors and the findings that the court has made certainly justify an upward departure. Because there are 4 of them, not standing alone, but in a sense, not overlapping, but coming together to show this is not the typical second-degree murder. This is egregious. This justifies a double upward departure. From the top of the box, which is 180 months, we're asking the court to do a double departure, recognizing all 4 factors, to 360 months. As I mentioned before, Your Honor, this is sentencing. This
Sounds
is the
like
time
a bunch of
for
Negro trauma porn to me.
right? This is the time for the loved ones of the victim and the community to have a
Negro
say.
trauma porn, guys?
Again, I
You already know
commend this
it
family.
is.
He's landed on pretty thick, too.
Extra sauce.
I commend all of the loved ones, the friends, the people that have been involved in this case
You
for
better tear up, nigga.
tolerating and being gracious. None of this, of course, can bring George Floyd back. That's very true.
You're right about that.
This is the time for our criminal justice system to say, we hear you. This is the time for their criminal justice system to say,
30
we
years.
recognize that this harm you're going through is real, and while we can't feel what you're feeling, we know we can do what your criminal justice system should do and recognize the
I was
severity
thinking
of
more
this
like
crime
life.
Right.
and reflect that in the sentence.
Or the 50, or how they do is 50 plus 100.
50.
You recognize this is more serious.
Somebody said 3 years probation.
Second degree.
We know where you are.
Unintentional murder. For reasons the court found, reflect that and give this court more than an adequate basis to do that. Your Honor, we ask the court to impose a sentence of 360 months, commitment to the Commissioner of Corrections. As you know, Your Honor, there are no fines in murder cases.
360
We would
months.
ask the court just to reserve
How long
the
is
issue
that?
of restitution. We can clarify that with the family and present that to the court.
That's
for
12,
30
12,
days.
and 12.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's more than 12, 12, 12.
I'm just saying that's
Anything further from the state?
36 years.
All right. Mr. Nelson.
That's a long time.
That's what it was.
How is
36
they
years.
recommending that when they trying to get 30? I don't know.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, the defendant's mother, Carolyn Polenti, would like to address the court.
If you could state your full name, spelling each of your names.
Carolyn
and
Polenti.
proceed when you're ready.
Carolyn, C-A-R-O-L-Y-N.
Is that his mom?
Palenty, P-A-W-L-E-N-T-Y.
That ain't Derek's mom, is it, cuz?
I am the mother of Derek Chauvin.
Oh.
I am here to speak on behalf of my entire family. On November 25th, 2020, not only did Derek's life change forever,
Nobody care.
but so did mine and my family's.
Cause y'all raised that little demon beast.
Derek devoted 19 years of his life to the Minneapolis Police Department.
In the tactics of killing black people.
Right, 19 years of terrorizing and hunting down black people.
Media, public,
Finally
and
caught up with it.
prosecution team believe Derek to be an aggressive, heartless, and uncaring person.
That's exactly it.
I can tell you that is
You
far
got
from
it.
the truth.
No, you got it. That was it.
My son's identity has also been reduced to that as a racist.
He is.
I want this court to know
That you raised this little
that none
racist
of
ass.
these things are true.
No, he came
And
out of
that
your
my son is
little
a good
decrepit
man.
little womb.
Derek always dedicated his life
Decrepit little racist room.
and time to the police department. Even on his days off, he would call in to see if they needed help.
So he could, because he couldn't get enough of fucking over
Derek
black
is
people.
a quiet, thoughtful, honorable, and
He couldn't get
Probably
enough.
letting your old boyfriend
He has a
fondle
big
on
heart,
him.
I know.
and he always has put others before his own. The public will never know the loving and caring man
You know
he
you was
is.
letting Chico
Charles was getting it in with him. Charles.
Even though I have
Straight
not
up.
spoken publicly, I have always supported him 100% and always will.
No.
Derek has played over
Hold
and
the
over in his
mayo.
head the events of that day. I've seen the toll it has taken on him.
Unlimited mayo.
I believe a lengthy sentence will not serve Derek well. When you sentence my son, you will also be sentencing me.
Well, did your ass go serve the time with him then, bitch?
I will not be able to
All day long.
see
Go
Derek,
sit your ass up in the cell
talk
with
to
him.
him on the phone,
Goof ass.
or give him our special hug.
You better get them books ready, bitch.
Plus the fact that when he is released, his father and I most
That
likely
nigga
will
gonna
not
be
be
eating goddamn Dorito pizza, bitch. Kill it. Dorito pizzas with the cheese sticks and beef.
Man, he ain't eating none of that. He gonna have popcorn. He gonna have mayo popcorn salad with mint leaves because he's gonna get up with the whites when he gets in there. He ain't even gonna have to go to solitary confinement. He gonna be a hero.
Oh yeah.
And my second is when I was honored to pin your police badge on you.
Then that's what got him
I
fucked
remember
up. He
you
thought he was
whispering to
cool.
me,
Got fucked up.
don't stick me with
Green
it.
bean casserole.
Cool.
Endless
Derek, I
supply.
want you to know
Kool-Aid with
I
Splenda.
have always believed in your innocence.
Endless
and I will
supply.
never waver from that. I have read numerous letters
Shit, man, if they don't get this mail the
from
fuck out of
people
here.
around the world that also believe in your innocence.
Nah,
She had all the mayo logic.
only people that believe in his innocence is people like you.
No matter where you
The
go,
ones that
where
raised
you
works-
him.
are,
Hey,
I
she
will
works
always be
at
there
the
to
Mayo
visit
Clinic.
you. I promise you I will stay strong,
Donnie, he is a
as we
demon
talked
peasant.
about, and I want you to do the same for me.
Yeah, he gonna be
I
taking
will do
some
what
meat,
you
alright.
told me to do. Take care of myself,
Balls to the fitness.
so
Straight up.
I will be here for you when you come home. Remember, there is no stronger bond
Remember,
or
there's
love
no stronger bond.
than a mother's love.
Then your mother ass should have taught him not to be out here
One
tyrannical
final
against
thought I
white
want you
people.
to
That wouldn't have
remember
happened. to his goofy ass.
Remember, you are my favorite son.
He thought he was big and
Thanks for
bad.
your time.
Old tough ass Chauvin. You thought you was the shit, huh, bro? Huh, bro?
Thought you was the man, huh?
You was the man, huh, bro? Is this the pussy ass nigga that's there to lie for him? Look at his scumbag face.
It is my intent that my remarks this afternoon be quite brief.
He looked like he used to get
I do not intend to relitigate the facts of this case,
to get back on some darkies.
nor spend any substantial time
He's taking great joy in this right now.
looking at the law. The court is very familiar with the facts of this case.
Yep.
And the parties have fully briefed the court relevant to the sentencing factors.
Yeah. And you're a scumbag.
And we recognize that in any case, any sentencing that comes before the court is tasked with a difficult job. The court must craft a sentence that serves the interests of justice, a rather nebulous term. The court must take into consideration victim impact, public interest, as well as the circumstances and the history of the defendant.
As well as being a scumbag.
And in this case, more than any other that likely any of us have ever been involved in, that task is exceedingly more difficult.
Because you're a scumbag.
In my remarks today, I just wish to briefly address
all the
each of those three considerations.
Taking
starting with the public impact.
How long I've held it down.
As I believe we are all cognizant of, this case is at the epicenter of a cultural and political divide.
No, it's not. This ain't the case. This was just the one that broke the
We
camel's
tried to
back,
keep
fam.
a lot
Shut
of
up.
that out of the courtroom during the trial.
You're not gonna get to say
and
that
make
bullshit
this
on
case
here,
about
buddy.
the facts. But we recognize what has happened
Yeah, that's
as
what
a
his mom
result.
should have said. Sentence me.
There are a great number of people
She ain't say
who
that
will
shit,
view
though.
any sentence you pronounce
See through your lies.
overly
Look, she
lenient
didn't say that shit though.
and
She's like,
insufficient.
alright,
to
don't have to take that
justice.
nigga. But that's my son.
But there are an equal number of people
That's my
who
son.
will view any sentence you pronounce as draconian
It
or
is.
overbearing.
No, it's not.
Either way, some percentage of the public will view your sentence as a miscarriage of justice. The intensity of the public interest in this case cannot be understated. I trust that the volume of correspondence that each of us has received from the public at large is indicative of these very sentiments on both sides.
On both sides. That
As I
Trump
was
shit.
informed just yesterday, the Attorney General's office established a website, some web submission to accept community impact statements. Again, in my understanding is in a little over 2 weeks, they received over 1,000 submissions. Again,
We got good
both
people
sides.
on both sides.
By my very best estimate, since my representation of Mr. Chauvin began last summer, I would estimate that I have received over 5,000 emails, over 1,000 voicemails,
Any death
and
threats?
hundreds of handwritten letters.
How about death
Again,
threats?
from both sides. And I expect that Your Honor has likewise been inundated
What about death threats?
with
Did you get any of
public
those?
comment and scrutiny. The impact that this case has had on this community
You
is profound.
buster.
It goes far beyond what happened on May 25th of last year. It has been at the forefront of our national consciousness, and it has weaved its way into nearly every facet of our lives, from the entertainment that we consume to the presidential politics, from protests to conspiracy theories.
Dude.
In the end, it is my sincere hope that when this proverbial dust settles, the community impact brings forth principled debate and civil public discourse, and ultimately leaves a positive effect on the city of Minneapolis, the state of Minnesota, and the United States.
Well, get him out of here.
But nevertheless, while this court may consider the community impact, it is for these very same reasons that the court must turn to the foundational legal principles and remember that justice is blind.
Your mama blind
Law
too.
is built on reason and common sense, and it cannot be permitted to be assailed by public opinion.
Your mama's blind too, cuz.
Turning to the second consideration, which is the victim impact, the death of George Floyd. The death of George Floyd was tragic.
You don't say. No shit, Sherlock.
He is loved by his family members.
Man, come on, man.
He is loved by his friends.
And your mom.
And his death is justifiably mourned by those whose lives he impacted.
Even your mom, because he was impacting your
a
mom
brother,
shit.
a father, an uncle, and a friend of many. And as the court heard today, the impact and the loss of his life, simply just, it can't be simplified. And it will take time.
Time to sentence this nigga. That's what it is.
Finally,
Come
Your
on,
Honor,
cuz.
the court must take into consideration,
You bullshit.
just like it has to take into consideration the aggravating factors, it needs to take into consideration the mitigating factors. And the mitigating factors as set forth by the sentencing guidelines really point to the TROG analysis, essentially, ultimately in this case.
Come on now, G.
We're not going to spend a lot of time, again, arguing for a probationary sentence. That's
Your nigga's going down.
But that being said, when we look at the TROG factors, who is Derek Chauvin?
Look at the TROG.
Derek Chauvin spent 19 years as a Minneapolis police officer.
Fucking up people's
He
lives.
loved being a police officer.
Fucking up. Say that part too.
I was contacted during the course of my representation and have had numerous conversations with his fellow police officers or fellow police officers that work with Derek, some retired, some still active.
And if it was some black, don't say no, it was black.
And they told me that he was a solid police officer.
Don't say you said.
That he did his job.
Don't say even the black.
That if somebody asked him to do a particular task or complained, he did.
Yeah, they did ask him. Kill all black men
One
you come in
person told me
contact
that
with. The best way
one of his
possible.
sergeants told me that if I had asked him to dig a ditch for 8 hours, he would have picked up a shovel and he would have never complained for a second.
Yeah, pick up a shovel to dig a nigga's grave. That's what it is.
He was decorated as a police officer.
Decorated puss
Multiple
boy.
life-saving awards. He was decorated
Decorated puss boy.
for valor. He was proud to be a police officer because what he liked to do was help
terrorize
people.
black people.
And the statistics show.
The statistics
The
show.
vast majority
he just
of
had a
police
case
work
with a little retard, with an autistic boy. He tried to pull that shit
He was
in. He had
proud
a
to
C
be
on
a
his neck too.
Minneapolis police officer.
You ain't say that.
He served his country as the United States in the United States Army.
Why we give a fuck about that army shit,
And
nigga?
he
Most
too
veterans come back racist
is a
as fuck.
son, and a brother,
They're playing Call of
and a
Duty right
father.
now, thinking it's black people.
and a friend.
Right now.
He too, his life, the life he's lived, he's not coming into this as a career criminal
George Floyd living
with
his
6 points, 5 points, 4 points. He's coming into this
What about that,
never
Blair?
having violated the law
You tripping.
because he lived an honorable life and he attempted to live an honorable life. Derek Chauvin was not even scheduled to work on May 25th.
Like he was some stand-up citizen.
Putting in extra hours
He volunteered because there was short staffing at the time. I know from numerous conversations that I've had with Derek that his brain is littered with what ifs. What if I just had not agreed to go in that day? What if things had gone differently? What if I never responded to that?
Man, don't nobody want to hear that hacky smurf.
The truth of the matter is, and the end result is that we are here after a jury verdict, finding him guilty of these offenses. And the court's consideration should not only be focused on the aggravating factors, but the mitigating factors as well. The Minnesota Sentencing Guidelines Commission was established for a reason. And yes, the court in circumstances like these has discretion to go beyond and aggravate a sentence beyond the presumptive sentences established by the sentencing guidelines. But the sentencing guidelines don't differentiate between second-degree murders. Someone robs a liquor store, a police officer is involved in an incident, and a person dies in police custody. The law presumes, the legislature presumes that the sentencing guidelines as established is a sufficient penalty for all
Do you know who my dad is,
second-degree
bro?
murder categories or cases you would see. From 2019 back to 2010,
Do you know who my dad
a total
is, bro?
of 90 people were sentenced for second-degree murder.
We don't care.
Sentences,
We don't
those
care what
people, though,
Cuz
more
did.
than that, but people who had a 0 criminal history score, more than 90 people were sentenced.
Come on, bro.
67%, or 60 of those 90 people, received a guideline sentence of 150 months.
So that don't mean that's what he about to
two-thirds of all
get.
people in this same position received a guideline sentence.
Come on, Jack.
20% received an aggravated sentence.
Oh, come on.
18 of the 90. And 13% or 12 individuals were granted mitigated departures. So if the legislature and the intent of the sentencing guidelines is to eliminate sentencing disparity, the law should presume that the guideline sentence is what is appropriate in this case.
Bullshit.
Which may take into consideration at this point those aggravating factors.
Explaining,
You have
dog.
to counterbalance them,
Explaining.
which is the goal of the law with the mitigating factors.
The man explaining, dog. He's explaining up the whole place. Stop
I know
explaining
that
up
this
shit.
has been an incredibly difficult case for the Floyd family to have to endure.
That's right.
The state of Minnesota, likewise, prosecutors in this case have
Explain
endured
it,
quite a
me.
bit, as has Mr. Chauvin's family. This is a case that has changed the world to some degree, and I hope it's positive. But it's my hope
Is that
that
what
the
you
court
hope?
follows the sentencing guidelines,
He said he hope it's
applies
positive.
the law in a reasoned manner.
I feel
and
sorry for the
imposes
George
a
Floyd
just
family.
He said that they hope that they judge the case in a reasonable manner. Here we go, y'all. Is this it? Is this it? Is it?
Mr. Chauvin, this is your opportunity if you wish to give any input to the court.
Oh, he got something to say?
And so I turn it over to you and your attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, due to some additional legal matters at hand, I'm not able to give a full formal statement at this time. But very briefly, though, I want to give my condolences to the Floyd family.
Shut up, Buster.
There's going to be some other information in the future that would be of interest, and I hope things will give you some peace of mind.
No, he didn't. Try to tell them that he ain't guilty of what he
And I'll
did.
note that I did read your
You
comments in
guilty,
the pre-sentence
fam.
investigation as well.
And you're going down.
All right, we are going to take a 15-minute recess so that I can complete the sentencing order based on what I've heard today. And let's reconvene at 2:45. We're in recess.
Well. As the suspense continues. Well, while they doing that, you see that shit,
The court
fam?
is now in a brief break. You are watching the sentence.
You see that shit, family?
Yeah, man.
You see that? They let this guy talk and say something. Alright, check it out. Since they doing that, then we gonna take the opportunity to let's play some videos. I heard this one song, Amigos, or this is my amigos, the pesos. This one dude, I forgot his name. What's it? Von Savage? Media? Is that him? Oh, let me see. It's one guy. Hold on, let me see if I can find his channel. Man, that's a lot of work, man. Who is that dude that keep popping up on the screen? Who is that keep popping up on the screen? What up, family? How you feeling, man? What's going on? You back for some more there, brother? Win the show? You back? We got a 15-minute recess for you. If you want some more of that smoky smoke, Got a love for ya.
Oh, they taking a 15-minute break?
Yeah, they taking a 15-minute break. See the
you want to take a 15-minute break?
We can take a 15-minute break. All right, y'all. We'll be we let the stream goddamn run because all that old.
Oh, we didn't do that too.
Yeah, all that old in and out shit. You dig? I was about to showcase this one guy. I know this one guy, right?
I mean, you could do what you about to do. I just want to.
It's this one guy though. His name is.
So I'm about to.
It's like Von Savage, TZ Von Savage. Is that his name? Sound like old Red Baron, like he fly planes or some shit. I don't know.
I'm going
he cool and all. I kind of like the nigga and all. He cool. I'm
going over yonder.
He cool and all. But let me play this song from Mr. Savagery. He's cool. Cool dude, man. Cool dude. Straight up.
This one. Hey, hold on. That's from.
That's one of your. This one of the artists.
Yeah, on the label.
Oh yeah, one of the artists on my man's label.
You playing Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's not bad.
No, that ain't you.
Artists.
That's one of the artists.
That's one of the artists. But it did come out on the label when it's inside of Hot Lava Music.
On the Hot Lava Music side of the game.
And the video was done by Von Savage.
That was a Von Savage video production, huh?
To this chick, her father's name was Rico. Introduced me to the plug. Now I get it for D-Lo. I mean, this chick is bad. Say she's from Puerto Rico. Got a whole lot of hoes. She moving like the Rico.
I like that song.
Bag under pitch. Free throw. She said it's meant to last. If she don't
Puerto Rico.
And I'm alone. The only thing that
Migo.
Honestly, the summer's gonna be mine.
Peso.
My little pocket.
Hey, ain't there? Hold up. This is one smash hit that I was hearing. I think it's the one you did. It was. What's it called? Savage.
Oh yes, sir.
Is that Savage?
Now, that is. Now that is
that you?
Sir. Now, sir, I am that guy. Sir.
Is that you?
Yes, sir.
Is you the Savage?
I am
you
he.
that one?
And he is I.
Boy, you put in TZ Von Savage, boy.
Don't be getting me confused with Fred Savage. I ain't Fred Sanford, and I ain't Fred Savage.
You feel me? You know what, y'all? While we waiting on the deliberations, on the deliver side of the game.
That's what they doing, deliberating? I mean, you didn't even talk.
He said like 15 minutes, he said.
Oh, to just come back, though, but not to deliver. That's just for him to come back and get ready to talk, right? Ain't he about to say something?
I suppose so. I mean, I really didn't.
It looked like he was getting ready to talk.
I really didn't get that part of the demonstration or the demographics. I'm gonna make sure that we put this tab back right here so that we are informed when it go back down. You know what I'm saying? When it goes down. When it goes
on the backhand side.
You don't want it to go down without you going down. So we're gonna keep the screen. We keep the screen up. So we'll see when they start talking. But in the meantime, in between time,
we gonna showcase some of this black talent.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? What about that one song? If I'm free. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can hit them with that. That's an unreleased track, but it's coming soon. Why not?
Hold on, where's that song? I love that song. Here we go.
And that is a teasy. That's a teasy.
I'm free, and a then why's everybody getting
Hey, that was it though. That's it. There we go. Look at that.
If I'm free, then why's everybody getting killed all around.
They need to cut us a check for reparations.
Why so many kids don't have no food to
eat?
Can't pay the bill and now I'm stuck in jail to say I'm free. Remember Martin Luther King, don't forget he had a
dream.
You keep saying I'm free, but I can't see it on the lead. No, we ain't been free since Abe Lincoln said I'm free. Police killing anybody else that look like me. Get to walk down the block, cause I might get shot in the street. But what about the people that died so you can read? Now you're skipping school and with the gang and selling weed. Next you drop out of school, the gang's locked up and you can't read. I ain't telling you what I'm telling you what I see. Yeah. And everything they teach you in history ain't what it seems. No. Just know that your royalty and come from kings and
queens. Yeah.
Just know that your royalty
come from kings and queens. Yeah.
Then why is everybody getting killed all around
me? Yeah.
Why so many kids don't have no food to
eat?
Can't pay the bill and now I'm stuck in jail to say I'm free.
Y'all ain't free.
Remember Martin Luther King, don't forget he had a
Don't forget
dream.
that shit.
You keep saying I'm free, but I can't see it on believe.
Can't see it, man.
No, we ain't been free since Abe Lincoln said I'm free. Police killing anybody else that look like
me. Yeah. Nigga. That's my shit right there. That's my shit. I don't give a fuck, and I don't care, and I don't care how y'all feel about it. If you don't like it, then so what? I don't care. Shit. All right, so listen. We got a couple more minutes of deliberation. I see. As soon as we see the judge come back to the court, we'll jump back in. But until then,
we gonna keep showcasing.
We gonna showcase y'all. So why you don't wanna hear the shit that got that bass? And then you don't wanna hear it 'cause it's all in your face. They got his mom on the screen looking like a disgrace. She done raised her own son up in her own wrong damn place. This nigga's out here killing black people. He's a shame. But that nigga taking his ass on the jail today. But that nigga's taking his ass on the way today, y'all. Don't listen to me, but listen everything that I okay, alright, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I really truly apologize.
Oh, that's when she was up there before.
I don't want to hear that. Whatever she said. Whatever she's saying.
She was good to get it off the first time.
Hey, hold on. Hey, here's a song from left field. Let's see what this one says. Mr. Don Vito. Rest in peace, Don Vito. Don Vito.
Yeah, y'all, instead of listening to all these pundits talk,
yeah,
we're gonna we're gonna showcase some black talent.
Yeah, we don't got time for all of that.
As soon as
they come back with the comebacks, we'll be coming back with the comebacks too. It's just that we ain't trying to hear the mayo that is being slathered all over this here situation. Okay? There's mayo there, okay? No mayo for me, okay? I'm on a diet.
And don't include mayo popcorn salad.
Oh, definitely mayo popcorn salad. I'm definitely done with that. Matter of fact, with that right there, I don't, I need to run into some of my friends that make that mayo popcorn salad. I want to taste it one time. I want to see just how nasty it is. Because you can't, I really can't imagine that mayo and popcorn salad could be anywhere but good.
Man, we got a $25 cash app. I'll send anybody $25 cash app. They can show me a video of them making and eating mayo popcorn salad with the mint leaf.
Hey, you know what beat been having me going though? That Jamaican shit. I've been on that. Come on. Intermission, y'all. Go down, my selector. Bobo Clat. Go down.
Selector.
Go down. Static selector. Go down. Good runnings, my friend. Now they got some random. Look.
What's this?
Oh, this is.
They got an interview. Who's this that
Hold on. Let me stop the proceedings. Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on. Hold on. I got the. Hold on.
What will that be like? The sentencing is not 30 years. What will you
that be
feel?
like if the
What do you think the
sentencing is not
community?
30
How do you think the community will react?
I feel like the community will feel like everything we did for this year by building forts, getting shot by bullets, getting mace, getting pepper spray, all that stuff, it'd be for like nothing, because it was just the first step to get him convicted. It'd be the second step to put him away for the time that he deserves.
Alexis, you were listening in on the court today, a little bit here and there as you were talking to the other activists.
She said it right.
You heard Derek Chauvin's mom speak and say that he was a selfless man, that he was compassionate, that he's a good man. What is your response to that? What were your thoughts when you heard that?
Well, my response was, first, his mom have not even came on TV, have not been at the courtroom to support him the whole trial. It was nobody that really came to support Chauvin until the very end. And for his mom to just speak upon now that he's getting sentencing, I feel like she just wants pity on him when she could have been apologized to the family when it first happened, and just not right now.
Thank you, Alexis, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'll send things back to you in the studio. Libby.
Driscoe, thank you. Mary Beth Albright, what are the next steps here? What are we watching for Judge Cahill to do in the coming moments?
Well, Judge Cahill is going to decide exactly what we have been talking about this whole time, which is what are the consequences to Derek Chauvin for murdering George Floyd. We've seen for the past 15 months, 14 months, the consequences for the country. We've seen the consequences in our cities. We've seen the consequences all over the country, and now we're going to find out what those consequences are for Derek Chauvin. A couple of things that I thought were really interesting. One was, in addition to the quote that you played by Derek Chauvin's mother,
I know, right?
Philanese Floyd this quote, I think we're going to hear a lot of. My family and I have been given a life sentence.
Hair weave, huh?
When you put that together with Carolyn Palenti's statement, when you sentence my son, you will also be sentencing me.
Quote, huh?
It really highlights the tragedy of this case.
Look, she talking about the tragedy of this case when you sentence Floyd. When you sentence him, you're sentencing me.
So what Judge Cahill is doing right now is sitting in back, thinking about the pre-sentencing investigation that talks about Derek Chauvin's life and his contribution to the community prior to him murdering George Floyd. He's thinking about those victim impact statements, including from George Floyd's daughter. And he's balancing that with the sentencing guidelines, which are guidelines that's been given to him by the Minnesota legislature, saying this is what we recommend. Now, something very important is that the judge can impose whatever sentence he wants, but on appeal, it has to be a lawful sentence, right? So, yes, you can just give him probation. Yes, you can give him more than 30 years, but that sentence will be appealed if it's not thought of to be lawful. So he's bringing all those things into account, sitting in his chambers and thinking to himself, what is the right sentence? What is the right debt for Derek Chauvin to pay for his murder?
Mary Beth, we heard the prosecutors, Matthew Frank in particular, talk about what they believe are the aggravating factors, these reasons why the judge should go beyond what might be sort of the typical range of a sentence, and they went through what those factors were. I want you to talk about those with us, and also it seemed like he was being very careful to say that they don't overlap, but they come together, because in the sense overlapping might sort of, make them a little less potent. But he's saying that they all kind of knit together to fortify his case that Derek Chauvin should get 30 years in jail.
Well, one thing was clear in the in the discussions that both the state and Chauvin's lawyer gave. Both of them believe that this is not the typical second-degree murder. Both of them believe that this is not the typical offender, right? The typical murderer. Which side do you think that falls on? Whether that is for an upward sentence, which is for greater than the sentencing guidelines, or whether that is for a downward sentence, which is lower than the sentencing guideline. It was interesting to me that the state really chose to focus on those four factors, to get really granular about the events of that day, and the four factors being the abuse of authority. One of the things that he talked about was you had custody without care. Right? That you had this man in custody, but you weren't giving the duty of care to him. Another one was the particular cruelty of the crime. This gave the state an opportunity to talk more about just how awful it is to be choked to death while you're lying on the ground and while your face is being rammed into the pavement. The third is that there were children present. There was a 9-year-old present. And it's interesting because at one point, Eric Nelson, in one of his briefs, said, Derek Chauvin's attorney said, well, they could have left. And, Judge Cahill didn't even recognize that argument.
I mean, just to pause you there, in other words, Eric, the attorney for Derek Chauvin was trying to say, look, this isn't like a gunman holding people hostage or shooting someone in front of their children or something, that these were passersby unrelated to George Floyd who could have left. But we don't get a sense that the judge buys that.
We know that the judge didn't buy that because he has already issued a ruling saying that these four factors applied, that there were children present. He's not even talking about, like, these are things that call for an aggravated sentence. The judge has already said, yes, these four things were present. And so there's going to be an aggravated sentence.
And I cut you off from the fourth one, so give us the fourth one.
The fourth one is that there were 3 or more people participating with the offender. And so it gives sort of, the idea, it gives the idea of a mob mentality. And so any one of these 4 aggravating factors is enough to give a double sentence.
Damn.
We have 4 factors, not just 1, 4. Okay. And so that's what the state was really honing in on, that we really need a 30-year sentence.
Asked you like 3 questions.
Rhonda, we're cognizant of the fact that there is a federal case pending, but Judge Cahill, this is his courtroom, right? This is his jurisdiction. This is what he is looking at. and experiencing. So as we saw Derek Chauvin essentially not give much of a statement at all of remorse or defending himself or justification or anything, he was alluding to the federal charges against him. But that's all well and good for Derek Chauvin. That's not the jurisdiction of Judge Cahill. That doesn't help Judge Cahill in any way.
Right, and today is about Judge Cahill's sentencing on these state charges. So that's his job, that's his jurisdiction, that's what he's going to get done in a matter of moments. But that federal case does linger over this. We saw Derek Chauvin made his first court appearance on June 1st, virtually in federal court for the beginning of that trial. So that does hang overhead here, but right now what we're waiting on is Judge Cahill to make a decision based on these state charges. So from what we've read from people who know Judge Cahill and his thinking, he may fall somewhere in the middle. There's also another important case that I don't think we've talked about. It happened with another Minneapolis police officer a few years ago. His name was Mohammed Noor, and he shot an Australian woman who called. She reported that she was hearing sounds that sounded like a sexual assault near her home, and she was shot by this officer. Now, a couple years ago, he was charged with murder and convicted, and he got a sentence of 12.5 years. So if there is any sort of framework or any crystal ball we could look at, it could be that case.
All right, Rhonda, let's go now back to the courtroom and Judge Cahill.
On the record. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank everybody for being here and for providing the input you did. Not just the people who were in the courtroom here, but also those who provided written statements, both from the Floyd family and the defendant's family. I've read all the impact statements that were submitted earlier and listened carefully to all the input here today. And it is truly appreciated that you took the time to stay with this case and to provide me with input. I have reviewed the pre-sentence investigation and carefully considered all the facts of the case and the law, but my comments are actually going to be very brief. Because most of it's going to be in writing. I have a 22-page memorandum that is going to be attached to the sentencing order. And why am I doing it in writing? To emphasize the fact that determining the appropriate sentence in any case, and in this case, is a legal analysis. It's applying the rule of law to the facts of an individual and specific case. And that is why, as opposed to trying to being profound here on the record, I prefer that you read the legal analysis that explains how I determine the sentence in this case. What the case is, or what the sentence is not based on, is emotion or sympathy. But at the same time, I want to acknowledge the deep and tremendous pain that all the families are feeling, especially the Floyd family. You have our sympathies. And I acknowledge and hear the pain that you are feeling.
No, we don't want you to hear.
I
We want
acknowledge pain not only of
justice,
those in
cuz.
this courtroom, but the Floyd family who are outside this courtroom and other members of the community. It has been painful throughout Hennepin County, throughout the state of Minnesota, and even the country.
Extra splainage.
But most importantly, we need to recognize the pain of the Floyd family. I'm not going to attempt to be profound or clever, because it's not the appropriate time. I'm not basing my sentence also on
Yes, I'm seeing the mail
public
right
opinion.
now. They're bringing out the jars of mail as we speak.
I'm not basing it on any attempt to send any messages. A trial court judge, the job of a trial court judge is to apply the law to specific facts and to deal with individual cases. And so,
With that being said,
Mr. Chauvin, as to count one, based on the verdict of the jury finding you guilty of unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony under Minnesota Statute 609.19 subdivision 2 paren 1, it is the judgment of the court that you now stand convicted of that offense. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 60904, counts 2 and 3 will remain unadjudicated as they are lesser offenses of count 1. As sentence for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on
So what's that, 22 years?
Abuse of a position of trust and authority.
Oh, and you're
and
a
also the
predatory
particular cruelty
offender?
shown to George Floyd. You are granted credit for 199 days already served. Pay the mandatory surcharge of $78 to be paid from prison wages. You're prohibited from possessing firearms, ammunition, or explosives for the remainder of your life. Provide a DNA sample as required by law. Register as a predatory offender as required by law. And then you will receive a copy of the order and also the attached memorandum explaining the court's analysis.
So how many years did he get?
Anything further from the state?
230 months.
If this needs to be said, we just ask that it be executed forthwith.
So like 25 years.
Defendant is
25
remanded in
years.
custody of the sheriff to be transported back to the DOC or which custody is.
He got like a 25.
No, 22 years.
We are adjourned.
22 and a half.
Derek
with
Chauvin sentenced to
180
22
days,
years in
190
prison in the
already
killing
served, so
of
that's
George
22
Floyd. That
years.
is
You do
above what would
two-thirds
be a
of that.
typical sentence for this crime, but the
So we're
judge
saying like
agreed with prosecutors
18
that there were aggravating
good
factors
behavior,
that
so
added
probably about
to the
15
time. He
pieces.
said that Derek Chauvin gets credit for the 199 days already served.
She seemed like
but he
she
now
upset.
faces
Nigga, he
this
gone.
lengthy
He
prison
out of here.
She's
sentence
upset. She
of
said it.
22 years,
said it
not
like,
the 30 years that
that's
prosecutors
harsher
had
than it was
requested,
supposed to be,
but still longer
yeah,
than
for a
what would
crime
be
like
typical.
this.
Mary Beth Albright,
What do
let's
you
go
mean
to
for a
you
crime like
for some legal context on this.
For little than nothing. I don't even know why.
Well, I did think it was interesting
she was like,
that
it's
Judge
longer than
Cahill said
projected,
this is
but
not based on
Not
emotion.
the 30 years
This is
that
not
they got, but it's longer than projected. You sound like you
based
mad.
on sympathy. And I am giving you a
Big
22-page opinion that I have written that is going into the record. They have not posted that yet on the Minnesota Court's website. As soon as they do, we will take a look at that. But I thought it was interesting that he reiterated that the role of a judge is to apply the law to specific facts. It's not to send messages about
he said
about
that covering
anything
his
to
ass.
anyone. It's
It's
just
not
to
to
give
send
that
messages.
sentence.
Of course
and
he's
so,
not saying that.
He really did focus on the law, and I really, really looking
Of course he's gonna
forward
say
to
that. That is sending
looking
a
forward
message.
is not the right way to put it, but I'm very interested to read that 22-page report that he put out. And of note, he said that the aggravated sentence that
This
he
is a great
gave,
party.
because this is a higher sentencing than the guidelines would ask for,
Look, wow, everybody got their
is
chats
abuse of
disabled.
authority and the particular cruelty of the crime. Of
Where's
the
all
murder
the-
of
where's
George
all the chat
Floyd.
people
So
now? Where's all the people
that's what
leaving
we're
the
going to take a look
comments
for
at
when we
now?
read that opinion.
Hold on, let me see.
Libby?
This is live
they
breaking
there?
news from the Washington Post. The latest is this. Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 years in
I
prison.
smell BS
That's
too,
based
right?
on
Hey, I
abuse of a
smell-
position
I
of
smell
trust and
BS
showing
too.
a particular cruelty to George Floyd. We just heard Judge Peter Cahill address the pain in the community. He said he will issue most of his analysis in writing, so we'll be looking for that. He said he was not trying to send any messages based on public opinion. James Homan, let's go to you. You know, the judge, as Mary Beth points out, being very specific to try to say this is happening within this courtroom and within the experiences
Yeah, that ain't enough.
of George Floyd and the crime carried out by Derek Chauvin as decided in the trial, which concluded in April. He was saying he was not taking into account the rest of it, but still wanted to acknowledge really the global pain that's been felt as a result of this murder.
Yeah, absolutely, Libby. I think that speech from Judge Cahill is very much one you'd expect from someone who doesn't want the defendant to kind of win on appeal, to throw out that conviction or to get some kind of mistrial. This is kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, explaining all of the legal framework. He already has laid out his thinking in detail. We didn't, get
Shiny
the
nigga
kind of
on
the long
camera.
speech about the police and law enforcement.
good
As
lighting,
the
you
prosecution said, policing really was not on trial here. Derek Chauvin was in this case. And so this is, I had said in the pre-show that the sentence was likely to be 18 to 22 years. It sort of makes sense that this is where he ended up based on sort of the various factors. He seemed unlikely based on his previous rulings and sentences to go the full 30 that the prosecution wanted.
He should have got 45.
He certainly wasn't going to go below the 12 that the guidelines called for. So
45.
this is basically, it's, as he said, 10 years beyond what.
Yeah, I smell fish sticks too.
You know there's appeals coming.
Yeah.
All kind of appeals. I still stand what I said.
Hey,
he gonna end up doing 5 years and get set free.
Dude, they can play around if they want. That might not even be good enough for motherfuckers in the hood. They might still set it off anyway. And I'm not saying
what you mean they should still set it right now?
I'm not saying go do that. But I'm saying, I don't know. I mean, maybe downtown Minneapolis with all of that glass and all of that, somebody had to pay for something. I'm not saying do that.
I'm saying don't go bust out no windows at the IDS.
No, don't do that.
And I'm saying the old Dayton's building,
the city
don't
center,
bust them windows out.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
The city center,
don't do that.
Go bust them windows out.
Don't do that.
We don't want you to bust them windows out.
We don't want y'all to do that. We don't want y'all to nut up and act a damn plum fool. That's not what it is. We don't want y'all to pull up season. We don't want y'all to do that. Don't do that.
At all.
Don't.
We don't believe in violence.
Cause I wouldn't be surprised if shit got tore up anyway for motherfuckers trying to play motherfuckers and shit. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Who thinks like that? We don't think like that.
I don't understand.
I don't even process that kind of level of violence and mayhem. But
if you was to still on the next palm-colored person who spoke crazy to you, and you was to still on them, I would say you was wrong.
That's wrong. Do not do that.
I would say
don't take your angers and frustration out on palm-colored people like that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Especially when they talking crazy.
When they go low, you go high. Michelle Obama.
High.
Okay? This is real around here.
And don't go high upside their head. Don't do that.
No. Don't give them a couple elbows to the jaw. No roundhouse kicks. No sweep the legs.
No two-piece and a biscuit.
Nah, don't do that, man. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't
walk around with your newly bought weapon that they said 50% of new gun sales is black Americans. Don't walk around with that, and don't be prepared in case you gotta break a nigga off a piece. Don't do that. Keep your shit. Keep it at the crib.
Keep it at the
Protect
crib.
your family, man. Just worry about you and yours. Don't be B1. Don't be on code.
Don't do. See this? We want you to do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this.
We don't want y'all to pull up, man. Don't pull up, man. That's not what. You know what I'm saying? Can't we all just get along?
Don't go and snatch all the stuff out of Walmart.
No.
Don't go do that.
Don't do that. Where you gonna shop then? Where you gonna buy stuff?
The community.
You gonna burn up your own community.
You don't own.
What you gonna do then? Pull together and make a way for your people without the resources of others? No.
Don't put your resources together and get your own grocery store.
Don't do that.
Do that.
Don't do it.
Don't do that.
Don't
do that.
Don't.
Keep going to Cub Food. Spend all your money at Cub Food.
This is all I'm saying. If any of those businesses repaired themselves after the first go round and they didn't do right by the community after that, even still, I'm saying leave they shit alone.
Specifically them.
Leave their shit directly alone. Specifically alone.
Skip over their stuff.
Like if you see that person in the community that fronted all on you during the pandemic, well, sir, you got to put your mask on 50,000 times. But then when Joe Blow walk in without a mask, it's all love and smiles.
How can I help you?
If that happened, leave them folks alone.
Leave them alone.
Let them have their business. Don't burn it down. Don't break their windows. Don't do that again. Damn.
Don't speak up for yourself.
Don't do that. Don't feel like you've been shafted and you've been shaded and you smell rotten fish sticks all over the place with sides of expired mayo.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
The mayo's expired. You ain't even tried it. It might.
It gives it a certain zing.
You ain't never had fermented mayo?
Ever?
Fermented mayo,
That's a delicacy in Switzerland.
You ain't never had fermented mayo, fam?
Out of Denmark? You never had that before?
I thought that was a Switzerland dish.
Yeah, you know, Scandinavia does it a little different way, too.
Oh, okay.
And then they got the lutefisk.
Okay.
And so they add it with the lutefisk.
Okay.
And then it's the...
Okay.
It's a treat.
It ain't nothing like it. You talking about like that spoiled seal's paw that they be eating up in Alaska? Put a little...
All of that.
Fermented mayo on that? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I know about that.
You know, yeah. Delicacies.
Mm-hmm. Well, we ain't gonna hold y'all. It's 1 o'clock. There's more news to come. That's Miracle Whip, sir. Hellman's. Luckily, we ain't get a Hellman's infestation. I thought we was gonna get a Hellman's infestation on this one.
I think they got enough from earlier.
Yeah, because we gave them that goddamn smoke. They ain't want to come back.
That y'all was like, don't give them don't do that.
Y'all playing into their game.
Y'all some clowns for speaking up for yourself.
Don't stoop down to their level.
Y'all could do better than that. Following into the stereotype,
brother. Stereotype, brother. What you think they gonna think of us? You doing all that?
They get the kids.
And you know Eminem one of the greatest now.
He the coldest.
Now you can't hate on the white boy now. He can put some words together now. And I like Stephen and I like Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith be telling the truth now.
That boy there.
Now
boy,
you can't.
He black power, ain't
Nah. Stephen A. Smith be telling the truth now.
Don't you say nothing about no Morgan Freeman.
And Nicki
You stop talking
Minaj.
about
Nicki
race.
Minaj is the greatest female rapper ever. And don't you forget it. Nicki Minaj.
Forget that.
Way better than Lauryn Hill. Way better than MC Lyte. Way better than Little Kim.
MC Lyte. I don't know if I'm messing with her.
I don't know now. Don't talk about
She worried about the anti-Asian vibe.
Don't talk about me some MC Lyte now. Don't talk about me some John Legend. Don't talk about John Legend now. Don't talk about John Legend, Wesley Snipes, Jeezy. Don't talk about him. Don't talk about him. Yeah, they might have said
Rihanna.
They might have said stop the anti-Asian hate. They might have said that. All Def Digital. Sorry, I had something in my throat.
I think you had some All Def Digital in your throat.
Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah. You know, stop the Asian hate, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
They didn't do no special program for today, did they? You didn't get no. They didn't make sure their publicist got the information. You know, when he gets found guilty, put out a statement on behalf of me. No.
Who for the darky? George Floyd?
Yeah.
The felon the felon opioid drug addict?
I just thought we would keep the same energy, perhaps. That's all.
Let them tell it. Who the felony counterfeit drug addict opioid white woman abuser? He abused her. He kidnapped her.
They not black.
He abused her and kidnapped her in the relationship. She didn't want to be with him.
I know black.
We just clowning with y'all, man. That's how dumb y'all be sounding in the comment sections and shit like that.
I thought maybe if we said it out loud to you guys, you might see how silly that sounds.
I mean, do that sound good? The shit that I just said to y'all, that dumb shit y'all be saying back. Free Chauvin. Free Chauvin. What you want to look? They want to throw up the black fist too.
They want to put up the fist so bad now.
They want to be like, free Chauvin. Free Chauvin.
We got t-shirts.
Hey, haha, 22 years. Why not the death penalty? You must be a kid. I'm convinced now. Because that...
Why not the death penalty? Why not?
You guys didn't get the death penalty.
Why not?
He still took his monkey ass to jail. Did you see the title of this video? It's a sentence party. We just had fun raining on your little parade, didn't we?
On your daddy.
Bad day.
Your daddy going to jail.
Bad day for white supremacy, ain't it? Took an L. Y'all, I know y'all don't like that. I know y'all don't like that. Professor Black Chauvin, Jason Black say y'all don't like taking no L's. This is definitely an L. So you know what's going to happen today? I'm finna call it. Today or tomorrow, there's going to be a horrific police shooting. Today.
Or hold on.
Later on tonight.
Don't forget a mass shooting.
Mass shooting or police.
Grocery store.
And I swear, if that happens today, we jumping right back on to tell you where the part. What's your name? Where the show? Win the show. We coming right back on to tell you.
I'm going with a Walmart or a pharmacy like Walgreens or CVS.
No, I say Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, or AMC Theater. No, fuck it, Applebee's. Applebee's is next.
I can see the Applebee's, but I'm going with Walmart, CVS, or Walgreens.
Motherfucker just tried to pick up their description and got to worry about niggas shooting up shit. God damn. I'm up here trying to pick my prescription up for my mom, fam. You tripping. Damn. God damn.
You ain't going inside, though. You be all right.
Yeah, I will be in the drive-thru. God damn.
Them is for the inside people.
He going in there, blopping up Walmart. Motherfucker over there in the aisle with their Depends and shit. Nigga trying to grab a toothbrush. Just waking up from his girl's crib. Like, I needed some deodorant. Just ran in. We got this Derek Chauvin! Yeah!
Freedom of the people!
I'm mad! I'm mad! I'm
mayo mad!
I'm super mayo mad, bro. He got convicted. He should got off, bro. He should got probation. Free Chauvin,
and they're still not gonna be happy.
Hey, what do the darkies say?
More.
The darkies say free them, you know, when their guys in jail, you know, gang. Free Chauvin, bro. Free him. That's how
there's your reparations.
Yeah.
That's your reparations.
You guys just got reparations. Fine. We just convicted him. Fine. Okay, then.
Is that not, are you not happy?
You guys aren't satisfied with anything. God.
You guys are never happy.
Do you know who my dad is, bro? You fucking know who my dad is? Sick of you darkies.
Sick of you.
Ew. He got convicted. Oh, you want to throw a parade? You want a cookie? He got convicted. You want a cookie?
Is your life better now because of him? Fine.
Are you guys, now that he went to jail, are you guys gonna start acting better now?
Are you gonna behave?
Are you gonna stop crying about racism now?
Are you black people gonna stop being victims and
we
playing
just
the
gave you guys
card?
Juneteenth. What the hell? You guys just got fucking Juneteenth, man.
OMG. What else? And you got Derek Chavez too?
The fucking greatest.
Gosh.
He's one of the greatest police to ever grace the force. You see how he had his knee on that guy? That's police work, buddy. That's just good police work. He shouldn't have been on drugs.
Policing.
Look, he shouldn't have been on drugs. He shouldn't have had a counterfeit bill that we never found out was really counterfeit.
It wasn't.
So what? He shouldn't have resisted.
He shouldn't have resisted. He was a criminal, bro.
He had a white girl. They were on opioids, bro. You guys are crazy. You guys are racist, bro. You guys are spewing your nonsense, bro. How could you guys, man, that's why racism still exists, bro. Because you guys keep perpetuating it.
You guys won't stop talking about it.
Why don't you guys just
stop talking about it?
Your victim mentality. Why don't you guys just stop it? God.
Bro, we're not in slavery no more, bro, and I didn't do it, okay?
Didn't they just give you guys a $25,000 housing grant? I mean, come on.
I didn't get a $25,000.
What's affirmative action, bro? What's affirmative action?
You took all the jobs, bro.
It's affirmative action. Come on. What's the United Negro College Fund? What's the United Negro College Fund? There's not a United Whitey College Fund. And if it was, you guys would have a heart attack. Jeez.
So racist of you.
You guys had BET.
Everything. You guys get everything.
All right, 4 words.
Love, peace, blessings, aloha. Get in that comment section. There's a whole description section.
You guys already got reparations that you deserve. Derek Chauvin was arrested and charged. You guys got it already. You got it. That's how dumb you sound in the comment section. Why are you here? You don't like us? Why are you here? Like, my people didn't come from Europe too. Like, America didn't give free land to everybody in Europe and said, come take it from the Indians and give them smallpox and killed everybody. Why are you guys here? Because your people, first of all, because we was here already. Native to this American foundation, Black Americans. The Indians and the Native Americans that you'll talk about, those is Black people. Because the ones that you see today, the white ones, ain't Indians. So that's first of all. Second of all, the little people that did come here on boats, because it wasn't millions of people, there's no way you can get ships 3-4 months from over there to over here without killing all of the cargo, especially in the conditions y'all tried to say we was in. You didn't do that, fam. You want to know how I know y'all didn't do that, old big bad white supremacy? Because there's no fucking ship monuments dedicated to us going to look at how y'all used to be in slavery. Because there would be a slave ship museum right now. Or there would have been, which would have gotten shut down by now. Because y'all would love to brag on the shit that y'all done did. But you didn't do that. Because we was already here. So you talking to somebody who knows something. Take these goddamn commercials. Ooga googa. I'ma look at your dumb ass. I'ma look at your dumb ass. You sound like you. I know you're a kid. You can't be an adult. Did you follow me from walking in my pocket and now you mad because I ain't doing Dr. Seuss? I ain't taking advantage of Dr. Seuss no more. Is you mad because of that? You wanna see me rap my book? Is that what you want? You only want to see the rapper J-Law? The one that raps the books? That's what you want? No, this black power, black up in your face, black all over your mama ass.
But I'm good, and I'm straight. I'm from the land of the 10,000 legs. I know you wish you could, but some can't.
It's my mistakes or something like that. You ain't even saying this shit.
I learned to cut the grass real fast for the snakes.
Just take a look at my video. Right here on my channel. Look at these videos. Check these videos out.
It was something good,
like that.
It was favor.
Show up. Check the videos out, bro. Check the video. Spit a rap, dog. Yo, yo, yo. You love rap. Stop
like the level of deceit when your people try to play you like somebody in
even the way look, you said spit a rap. Where'd you get that from?
Not to mention all the shit you did to get him on his feet. Kid, the thoughts kid.
Dude, where you get spit a rap from? Where you get yo 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 from? Can you talk in Mayo? I can't understand you. I don't really get what you're trying to say, Doc. Maybe you should talk in Mayo.
Look.
Nah, I had fun with y'all clowning the shit out of y'all today. You hear this? You hear this? This is my language. Cut the check.
What you mean you ain't got my money yet?
About time you gave me my money.
I told you motherfucker I got your money yet, man. Fuck you, man.
It's about
you
time
ain't got your money yet.
friend,
Fuck
sir.
you think you is, man? Motherfucking Ron O'Neal or something? What you gonna do? I'm supposed to be scared now because you got a pistol, motherfucker. I got it.
We taught Donnie. We taught them how to use soap, fam. You ain't. I appreciate the watch time and all the views and all the shit that they do.
Too many ways for you to run my cash.
No, it's the ebonics that you keep speaking, talking about free Derek Chauvin. Remember you said that. And I'm speaking English because like me and like most of the world is colonized. Okay. Mexicans got colonized by the Spaniards, but they ain't Spanish. They just speak it. Which is the reason why they think they European. Look at it. More black euphemisms, I guess. Free Chauvin. Come up with something original, man. Can we hear the Mayo version? Let Chauvin out of jail. Can we hear that? Type it in there for me one time. Say, let Chauvin out. Come on. It's not fair, guys. Let Chauvin out of there. Come on, guys. Let Chauvin out of there. Come on. You can't say free Chauvin, man, and get some respect, fam. Somebody should have gave you all the finer points of white supremacy so that you would actually learn how to speak Mayo. Because it's like, you don't even know how to speak Mayo. Can you speak Mayo for me one time, dog? Are you over here? You see me tripping with this dude? Could be.
I was just talking about him.
Could be banging bongo drums and eating lizards on a stick. No, that's white people shit, dog.
All day long. That's at the state. You just described the state fair.
Minnesota State Fair. Alligator on the stick and all of that old weird shit.
That's
in
what y'all
Africa,
do. We don't
should
do
be
that.
Paradise, no Mayo. No, Africa's colonized by your people. That's why it's all fucked up.
We taught y'all how to eat with silverware. What you talking about?
Yo, Mayo. Yeah. I mean, we understand where you coming from. I ain't hating, fam. If that's your... Throw your setup.
Mayo it up.
Throw your setup, cuz.
Be the Mayoist.
I'm saying. Dude, you just can't...
You work at the Mayo Clinic too, don't
Yeah,
you?
look. But you can't get no respect, cuz. Talking about free Chauvin. That's... I mean, you coming out the gate, ass backwards. Oh, but you like that, though, because you came from the buck breaking video, where y'all like to showcase how y'all like to do nefarious, suspect, gay stuff. It might be Sammy Sosa. No, there's somebody from the joint. Africa was never developed. So you only see the shit that's on Discovery Channel, I think, huh? That is so...
Do you speak for all your people? Here, let me hold on.
The funny shit is I follow several black Americans that have gone over to Africa and showed me the whole shit. From the slums to the high rise, to the high price shit. You talking to somebody who's informed, sir. We're the great African civilizations beside Egypt. Well, we actually don't need another one because that was the birth of civilization, dummy. Y'all wasn't out there building no pyramids. You would have shriveled up like bacon in the sun. Yeah, dude. I mean, like, dude. Come on, you must be a kid in the show. You coming with the amateur talking points. You need to step your white supremacy talking points up, dude. Your shit's garbage.
You're Neanderthal. You're so undeveloped.
You were born with dual citizenship for Liberia. Did you know that? Well, okay, I can check that out, but I don't think so. That's it? You trying to inform me? You ain't even got no facts of that. Who told you that? One of your little Kuna Matata friends told you that?
Oh man. Disrespect, I ain't coming at you bad, but shorty gotta go.
Hey, you're embarrassing for Chad. Yeah, man, you not. Can we get some elite white supremacists, please, in our chat? Damn, do we got to have an amateur white supremacist that can't even hold an argument on fluff bullshit? I mean, your house of cards is already flipped. You don't even know the pillars of white supremacy. They don't teach you nothing. Monroeville, Liberia is named after President Monroe. Woo-hoo. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? You got some fat. Hey, he sound like he's so interested in Africa. He on some Kyle Rittenhouse shit. Oh no, that was the other white boy that shut up shit. The one that went to the church was Dylan Roof. You on some Dylan Roof? You thinking about what they used to call South Africa? It was
I'ma lead the club. Think it's one of them nice, man. I need the fuck.
The black population went from 12% to 13% to 12%. You need to address that. Well,
your life expensive.
Hold on. That was almost a good one, almost. But if you think that black people is and remain 13% of the population since they told your goofy ass way back then, that shows how smart you are.
Hey, don't even tell them that.
How did you know?
Yeah, we only 13%. Run up.
No, master. You do not
know. Run up. 13%.